Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Who I respect Mr. Dr. Andesmar Zulhidayat MA PhD as first examiner, Ma'am Dr. Mas Bidrodni SPD M Science Education as second examiner, and Mr. Dr. Yanto SPD MED as third examiner, and also Ma'am Dr. Anda Armiwati M Hum as first supervisor, and Ma'am Rani Haryanti as SM Hum as my second supervisor. Thank God for the presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala because of the mercy and the grace so that I can present my thesis presentation in a good health. And also greetings to the Prophet Muhammad SAW who has become a role model for his people. In this stage, I am Fifi Nurfa Shella from English Language Study Program, 8th semester students. Thanks for the occasion. Today, I have reached this stage in front of the examiners and the supervisors to present my thesis that I have compiled and worked on with title Students' Motivation Toward English Online Learning at 11th Grade in Vocational High School 3, Jambi City. So in this presentation, I will discuss several points. In Chapter 1, Introduction, includes background of the research, question of the research, purpose of the research, limitation of the research, significance of the research, and also key term definition. In Chapter 2, review of related literature, includes motivations in language learning, type of motivation, online learning, and also previous study. In Chapter 3, research method, include setting of the research design, population and sampling, validity and reliability approach, data collections, and also data analysis. And in Chapter 4, research findings and discussion, include description of research time and participants, and also research finding and discussion. The last, Chapter 5, Conclusions and Suggestions. So, as an introduction, the reason why the researcher chose these titles is because in this case, the researchers see a phenomenon where society are still experiencing COVID-19, and until now, we have not entered a new normal period, and also it affects the education system, which COVID-19 itself, in this case, is an outbreak which can interfere with the respiratory system and also a contagious virus. Since last March 2020, the Ministry of Education in Indonesia has issued a circular letter related to the preventing of the transmission of the coronavirus. So, the government has taken a number of steps to prevent it from spreading through social isolation, or in Indonesia called PSBB. So, according to the circular letter number 1 of 2020 on the prevention of the COVID-19 in the realm of education, Kemendikbud directed in the circular letter to organize remote learning and suggest that students learn from the comfort of their own homes. So several schools in Indonesia that implemented online learning system so that students can learn from their homes. In addition, conducting research related to motivation during online learning, especially in English learning, is important for some reasons. Basically, according to Harnett 2016, motivation will affect the level of the quality of the work produced. This illustrates that before teachers invite or ask students to master the material or some skills, specifically such as reading, writing, speaking, or listening, it is better to know first how is their motivation toward English online learning. So, moreover, during English online learning, research on motivation can provide an overview of the phenomenon of English online learning that has just occurred during the pandemic in several schools in Indonesia. Furthermore, with students' motivation to take lesson, students will enjoy the learning held by the teacher. If the student's motivation is very weak or even unmotivated, the student will have difficulty accepting the teacher's material. In Jambi City, especially, one of the schools that still implements the online learning, especially in English subject, is Vocational High School number 3, Jambi City. And the 11th grade is a class that's still learning English online until this semester. So the researcher chose 11th grade as the research subject because the 11th grade is a class that's still learning English online starting at the beginning of the pandemic COVID-19 until this semester of 2020 or 2021. Therefore, this research is expected to contribute to education, especially related to students' motivation during online English learning. Thus, based on some explanation and some reasons above, the researcher interested to conduct a research entitled Students' Motivation Toward English Online Learning at 11th Grade in Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City. For questions of the research, as the background of the research, there are two research questions formulated in the study. First, how is intrinsic motivation of 11th grade students of SMK N Jambi City towards learning English online? And next, how is the extrinsic motivation of 11th grade students of SMK N Jambi City towards learning English online? The purpose of this research, this study aims to find out how is the intrinsic motivation of 11th grade students of SMK N Jambi City towards learning English online, and also how is the extrinsic motivation of 11th grade students of Vocational High School number 3 Jambi City towards learning English online. So the limitation of this research, this study focused on finding out the intrinsic and extrinsic motivation of 11th grade students of SMK N Jambi City toward learning English online. And also, this research selects 11th grade students majoring in TKR classes or light vehicle engineering as research subject, because these TKR classes has the most students in the 11th grade in Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City. So, significance of this research helpfully brings benefit both theoretically and practically. For the writer, the study helped the writer gain knowledge and increase experience, especially in students' motivation toward English online learning. And for teacher, this research is expected to be helpful as an overview regarding to the students' motivation toward English online learning. And for students, this study is expected to be used as a reflection on their motivation in English online learning. And for parents, this writing is expected to provide an overview of students' motivation when learning English online from home. And for other researchers, this research is expected to be able to as a reference for those who are researching the similar studies. So the key term definition, the following key terms are used to help the readers to have the same interpretation in understanding the study. So intrinsic motivation is an internal drive that exists within students, such as curiosity, the need to know, and feeling of the competent or growth, according to Kong 2009. Extrinsic motivation itself is the motivation that comes from outside or from other people, according to Hermor 2007. And online learning is an educational environment in which online and land-based learners can access course-related or training-related materials and resources. According to Richard and Roger, many people in various countries use English to communicate in as an important international meeting. So mastery of English is essential because almost all global sources of information in various aspects of life use this language. In chapter 2, the concept of motivation in language learning. So motivation is some kind of internal drive that pushes someone to do things to achieve something, according to Hermor 2007. And in this discussion of motivation, there is a distinction made between extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. The first is intrinsic motivation, which is the motivation that comes from within each individual. The motivation grows from within or without any influence from other. The second is extrinsic motivation. Contrary to internal motivation, according to Hermor, extrinsic motivation comes from outside of the individual itself. So, defining motivation according to Lockhart 2017, motivation itself appears when someone has a sense of wanting to achieve something. And according to Brown 2007, motivation itself is the need for the self to be known and to be approved by others. So the learners have set the goals to be concerned about, such as fluency in foreign language and understanding foreign language. So there are many interests in using foreign language, among others, to achieve academic goals or goals related to future careers. So the importance of motivation for learning is to increase the desire to learn, curiosity, and fluency in using English as a foreign language. So the next explains about type of motivation. Motivation proposed by Yuan Kong 2009. Intrinsic motivation. Some aspects under intrinsic motivations, those are belief, needs, curiosity, and arousal. And according to Jeremy Harmore 2009, some aspects under extrinsic motivations, such as the goal, social environment, and the people around us. So in online learning is clearly changed the pattern of learning that requires teachers and education developers to provide learning and teaching materials to students directly through remote digital tools. So online learning is an educational environment in which online and land-based learner can access course-related or training-related materials, resources through a web design. One of them is change in the field of education. Online learning tools are also needed, such as internet networks, smartphones, laptops, and also computers. Other triggers could be motivation to learn, support, and assistance from the environment they live. So during COVID-19, several studies have proven that many students use laptops and smartphones in distant learning. The ability of laptops and smartphones to access the internet allow the students to participate in teaching and learning activities carried out in the form of video conferences in online classes using learning application services that are available online. So in today's e-learning environment, the types of online learning that occur are generally divided into two categories. So synchronous is defined as where communication in the learning process between educator and students is done in real time or at the same time. And asynchronous class or asynchronous communication is the implementation of learning where educators and students do not meet in a virtual space simultaneously. So here I would like to present the media platform that used in vocational high school number 3 based on communication and the category. So media platform WhatsApp, type of communication synchronous and asynchronous, and category is for IP and instant messaging, and Zoom meeting with type of communication synchronous, which communication in the learning process between educator and students is done in real time or at the same time. We categorize video conferencing. And next, Google Classroom with type communication asynchronous with category LMS or learning management system. Talking about English online learning, so there are some differences between learning English online and in conventional classes, such as in face-to-face classes. The development of technology in the 4.0 era has created many applications or features used to learn online. In contrast, online learning needs a laptop or smartphone as a place that can be accessed wherever students live. In contrast, online learning seems to be paperless, and students can learn through various available tools such as browsing, chatting, group discussion, or video conferencing. According to Fahmi, several online learning media platforms can be used according to the type of communication needs, material management process, and managing assignment. Next, discussing about previous study. So it is essential to look at similar studies before carrying out the research to learn how previous researchers conduct the research. So the researchers have considered several previous studies that are similar to this study. First, the researcher reviewed the research entitled Students' Perception and Motivation Toward English E-Learning During COVID-19 Pandemic, a study at the 10th graders at SMK N 1 Suruh in the academic year of 2019 and 2020 by Sri Mulyani 2020. So this research was conducted with a mixed method research. Then researcher attached two questions. First, students' perception of English e-learning during the COVID pandemic, and how are students' motivation toward English e-learning during the COVID pandemic. So the research shows that students' perception of English e-learning during the COVID-19 pandemic through e-learning has many advantages, such as students can be more independent to study, so they do not depend on teachers' time and place to study. And also, however, in this context, they have to stay at home due to the government regulation during the pandemic. And students are motivated and enthusiastic in learning English through e-learning. This can be seen from their way of thinking, who realize the importance of learning English while at home. So students also less motivated and less enthusiastic in learning English through e-learning. This can be seen from their attitude that is lazier to learn. And in addition to many assignments given by the teachers from all the subjects actually make them even lazier because the tasks they receive are piling up. The similarity both of this research is to find out the students' motivation during online learning, and in contrast, this study used quantitative research as research method. However, the previous research used a mixed method and focused on perception and motivation, while this research is more specific, only focused on intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So second, students' motivation in online learning during COVID-19 pandemic, a case study, Gustiani 2020. In her research, it is proposed to eliminate the motivation of the students at English Department of Sriwijaya Polytechnic toward their online learning during the COVID-19 pandemic era. So the similarity both of the research are conducted during online English learning, and the previous research used qualitative method, meanwhile my research used quantitative research. And the third is the online learning good in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, the case of EFL learners from ALO 2020. So his study used qualitative research, and the subject of the research are the learners of English study program of Yuki Toraja. Meanwhile, my subject of this research is the 11th graders of vocational high school number 3 in Jambi City. The similarity both of these researchers lies in the case that just occurred, which namely COVID-19 pandemic, which requires people to limit the activities including teaching and learning. However, the previous researcher examined students' perception of online learning, while my study focused on students' motivation toward English online learning at 11th grade of SMK N 3 Jambi. So next, settings of the research. So this research was conducted at SMK N 3 Jambi City and Street Captain Bakery Rawasari, Beliung, Kota Baru, Kota Jambi. And the online learning conducted at SMK N 3 Jambi during pandemic COVID was the first online learning system carried out in that school. So the subject of this research is 11th grade students of SMK N Jambi City who experience online English learning from home during pandemic COVID-19. Research design used in this study, so the researcher used quantitative survey method, which means quantitative research is research that identifies research problem based on the trends in the field or on the needs to explain why something happened by analyzing trends, comparing groups or related variables using statistical analysis according to Creswell 2009. The reason why the researcher used the quantitative research because the quantitative research is suitable as a method to answer the question that has been formulated in this study. So that's why the researcher used the quantitative research. Population and sampling. So defining the populations, population itself is a group of individuals that comprise the same characteristic according to Creswell 2009. And the population for this research were students of 11th grade of vocational high school, number 3 in Jambi City, which majoring TKR classes, with total 139 students. As the table shown above, the sample of this research was 103 students from TKR classes, using Slovene formula to determine the number of the respondents. So here are the sampling technique of Slovene formula that has been done by the researchers. So the researcher used Slovene formula because Slovene formula itself allow the researcher to reach many sample or many subject in the population. So the researcher think Slovene formula is suitable as a sampling technique in this study. And the following are the results of the sample calculation using the Slovene formula. So from the calculations that have been done through the Slovene formula, the sample in this study amounted to 103 students. So explaining about validity and reliability approach. In validity test results, the validity test using person correlation product moment by calculating using ABM SPSS version 25 with significant 5%. So significant 5% is the common use to calculate the validity test results. And there are 20 statements with positive values. In each statement, there are 5 alternative answers that revert to the Likert scale score, which strongly agree equal 5, agree equal 4, neutral equal 3, disagree equal 2, and strongly disagree equal 1. And the questionnaire was tested on 31 11th grade students from other classes, from other 11 classes in SMK N Jambi from different majors. According to Suparyanto 2010, suggests that the number of the respondents for the trial was at least 30 respondents. So that's why the researcher chose 31 11th grade students as the trial subject on this validity test results. And the table shown is the result of the validity of the research questionnaire instrument. There are 2 questions that invalid, number 16 and number 18, and the researcher dropped out the invalid questionnaire and replaced the invalid questionnaire with 4 additional questionnaire based on the prediction of the valid questionnaire. So the questionnaire that distribute is 22 questionnaire. And the next reliability test results. So according to Periantalo 2016, the recommended reliability is above 0.9 and considered satisfactory is 0.8 and the allowed research instrument is 0.7. Another level of reliability of research instrument according to Nunali and Bernstein as the table shown above. So the Cronbach alpha of the reliability test results is 0.9. So in data collection, the researcher first designed the questionnaire. So as a reference, the researcher refers to the theory of motivation developed by Prihartanta 2015 in Mulyani 2020. And after that, the researcher conducted the instrument trials to find out the validity and the reliability of the questionnaires. And the next stage, the researcher distributed online questionnaires using Google Form, and the questionnaire had been prepared using Indonesian language to make it easier to students to fill in. So that's why the researcher prepared the questionnaire using Indonesian language. And next, the researcher contacted the 11th grade English teacher to help the researcher distribute the questionnaires to class 11 TKR SMK N Jambi as sample of the research via WhatsApp group. Next, in data analysis, the researcher present the data using descriptive statistics. According to Cosby and Bates 2012, descriptive statistics allows researchers to make accurate statements about data. And also, Sugiono adds some formula to analyze data of statistic descriptive. So, in research finding and discussion, I will explain the description of research time and participants. So, description of research time starting on June 3, 2021 and ending on June 11, 2021. So, first, the researcher delivered the research letter to Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City on the 3rd June 2021, and the letter received by the head of the administration of Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City on 4th June 2021. And also the researcher contacted the relevant English teacher for distributing trial questionnaires in the 11th grade of the BSM on 5 until 7 June 2021, and the researcher distribute research questionnaires to the 11th grade TKR totaling 4 classes to obtain research data at 9 until 11 June 2021. Next, the research participants. So the subject in the study were 11th graders of TKR classes in SMK N Jambi City, which were 139 students with sample of 103 students. So in this research, the questionnaires were distributed to research targets totaling 103 students based on simple random sampling with the Slovene formula. So research questionnaires were distributed to the 4 classes as many as 103 students and returned to the researcher as many as 103 responses. And therefore, there are no questionnaires were lost during the conduct of the research because the questionnaire was distributed in online form. Research finding, first, English online learning. So in this study, the researcher found responses from students to statements related to online learning English. The researcher described the result of this finding as an overview of English online learning media for 11th grade students of TKR classes in Vocational High School number 3 Jambi City as follows. In first questionnaire, what media do you prefer in following online English learning? So the type of questionnaire is checkbox, which means that the respondent may choose more than one answer. And in the answer choice other, the respondent can write an answer outside the answer choice that are already available. And this question is designed to find an overview of what learning media is preferred so that the researcher doesn't limit their answer to what media they like while learning English online. From 103 students who respond, 59.2% students like learning media through WhatsApp. Meanwhile, 14.8% of students choose to like learning media through Google Classroom, and the rest, at least 10.7%, prefer the use of learning media through Zoom meeting. And from this question, there was no other media that students prefer in participating in online learning English beside from those media that has been mentioned above. And questionnaire number 2, I like learn English online media through the media provided by the teacher. So the chart shows 43.7% students answer agree and 13.6% students responded strongly agree to this statement, and meanwhile 45.7% students answered neutrally and only 1% answer disagree. And the next, the media used by the teacher make it easier for me to learn English online. So based on the respondent answer, there are only 1.9% students who disagree with this statement and 35.9% students who gave neutral answer, and then more than half of the research subject, 48.5% students agreed that they were motivated by the media that is easier for them to learn English online. Here are the table of the summarize of students' intrinsic motivations. So there are 5 questionnaires in the belief aspect, and the questionnaire number 4 with a statement I enjoy learning English while learning English online from home gets the most positive responses amongst questionnaire in the belief aspect. Among 33 students just agree with the statement and 8 students just strongly agree with the statement I enjoy learning English while learning English online from home. Meanwhile, in the belief statement, in the statement number 8, I want to learn English online from home as much as possible, the amounts of students who choose unfavorable answer and favorable answer are the same. Those are 25 students give unfavorable answer and also 25 students give favorable answer to the statement I want to learn English online from home as much as possible, but at least 53 students give neutral answer to the statement. Next, in the aspect of needs, there are 4 questionnaires in the needs aspect, and the questionnaire number 11 with the statement I am looking for information and examples on the internet so that it can help me in learning English online got the most favorable answer with 47.6% choose agree and 25.2% choose strongly agree with the statement I am looking for information and examples on the internet so that it can help me in learning English online. But at least only 3 students choose disagree with that statement. Next, in the aspect of curiosity, in the statement number 13, I am still passionate about learning English online even though the learning materials are difficult to understand. At least 11 students give unfavorable answers and 50 students give favorable answer to that statement. Meanwhile, the questionnaire number 14, in the statement, I am trying to completing the online English practice questions without being asked by the teacher by trying to find other sources online.
At least 3 students choose disagree and strongly disagree, and 47 students choose neutral, and in total, the amount of students who choose agree and strongly agree is 53 students. Next, in the questionnaire number 15, I asked the teacher when I have difficulty in learning English online, got the most favorable answer with 41.7% choose agree and 20.4% choose strongly agree with that statement. Only 7 people choose disagree with that statement. And in the questionnaire number 16, in the statement, I still study English online even though there is no English assignment given by the teacher. Among 19 students choose disagree and 57 students choose neutral, and in total, 27 students give favorable answer. Next, in the aspect of arousal, there are 2 questions. Question number 17 got the most favorable answer with the statement I study English online to prepare for the exam, with 47 students choose agree and 21 students choose strongly agree with that statement, and only 4 people choose disagree with that statement. And the last, in the intrinsic motivation questionnaire, number 18, in the statement, I first read the material that will be studied because it will make me more confident and comfortable during online English learning. Only a few students choose disagree with 3.8%, and 35 students choose neutral, and 45.6% choose agree, and 16.5% choose strongly agree with that statement. The next is the summarize of students' extrinsic motivations. 3 aspects under extrinsic motivations. Those are goal, people around us, and also social environment. One question and one statement under goal aspect, that is the 18th the statement I study English online to get good English grades got the most favorable answer with 49 students choose agree and 28 students choose strongly agree with that statement, and only 3 students who choose disagree. The amount of students who choose neutral is also less. Only 23 students choose neutral. In the people around us aspect, the questionnaire number 22 got the most favorable answer. In the statement, I like discuss with friends related to online learning English, gets 42 students choose agree and 23 students choose strongly agree with that statement, and only 1% who choose strongly disagree, and 4.9% choose disagree. Next, for the social environment, the questionnaire number 23, I join online English learning so I can interact with my social environment. Only 4.9% who choose disagree, and at least there are 44 students choose neutral, and in total 55 students give favorable answer with 43 students choose agree and 11 students choose strongly agree with that statement. Those are the findings of the survey that the researchers has distributed to the subject of the research. Next, the discussion. So the researcher also attached the calculation of students' motivation scores, the formula, and also the table category of motivation in interval scale. The interval scale helped the researcher to determine the students' motivation level. So, as the research shows, the research findings that has been obtained by the researcher lead to the discussion first on the intrinsic motivations with the belief aspect. There are the medium results in the statement I want to learn English online as much as possible with 61%, and also the medium motivations on the curiosity aspect in the statement I still study online even though there is no English assignment given by the teacher with 63%. Considering several things, that the motivation with the highest percentage of them is in the statement of the extrinsic motivations in the aspect goals. Namely, I study English online to get good English grades with 18%. And so in this case, the students tend to study English online to get good grades, not from their intrinsic motivations, but from outside encouragement. That is getting good English grade. In addition, On the aspect of needs in intrinsic motivations, students with high motivation try to find information on the internet that can help them learn and do English assignment online. So it can be seen in the percentage of 79% in the statement that they are looking for information and examples on the internet to help them learn English online. And also, to meet their learning needs, students with high motivation try to find materials and additional examples to help them learn English online during the pandemic. So equivalent to the finding that they also like discuss with friends related to online learning, especially in English subject with a high percentage of 76%, quiet proof students tend to be extrinsically motivated to discuss with their peers. So external encouragement such as discussion with friends in learning or doing English assignment online in practice is quite fine. It is in line with Salahuddin 2018 state that in the community or class, students will usually meet people who are still learning, so that students do not need to be afraid or insecure because students will learn and improve with their peers. One of the factors that can increase learning motivations is peer group association, for example. Peer group association with positive attitude are usually more oriented toward learning activities such as discussing or working together. So, in the discussion of how is the extrinsic motivations of the 11th grade students of Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City towards English online learning, the answer is the student extrinsic motivations in English and online learning tend to be high. Explained as follows. In the aspect of goals, the percentage of the survey result is 18%, which categorized as high motivations, and also people around us is between 71% to 76%, and it categorized to be high motivations, and the last social environment with 72%, and also categorized to high motivations. The results of the survey analysis shows that students have high external encouragement, such as parents, teachers, and also the discussion with their friends or with their peers. And the interesting to review is that students on their initiative to learn English online have medium motivation, while students are extrinsically willing to learn to get a good grades. Therefore, there is the result on the discussion presented as a discussion that can direct the researcher in providing answer to this research entitled Students' Motivation Toward English Online Learning at 11th grade in Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City. So to answer these two questions about how is the student's intrinsic motivation and how is the extrinsic motivation, toward English online learning, the explanation above is sufficient to describe what motivation and how the researcher interpret the response given by the respondents in the survey that has been distributed to the 11th grade students at Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City. Next is the conclusion. So, when online learning takes place, of course, the atmosphere will be different from the conventional classes as usual. Besides that, learning foreign language such as English cannot be ruled out because the subject of the English lesson is a general learning category at Vocational High School number 3 in Jambi City. This research has been answered through the research finding and the discussion that has been obtained by the researcher. Research shows that students' intrinsic motivation to learn English online in the 11th grade categorized to be medium to high, range from 61% to 79%. And moreover, extrinsic motivation includes getting good grades, support from parents, teachers, and friends encourage students to learn English online categorized as high with an interval score between 71% to 80%. And also, this research is expected to provide benefits in the field of education, especially in the realm of students' motivation toward English online learning. And this research has been answered through the research finding and the discussion that has been obtained by the researcher through a survey result. And also, the conclusion obtained is to answer the research question in this research entitled Students' Motivation Toward English Online Learning at the 11th grade in Vocational High School, number 3, Jambi City. As an addition, most of the students are extrinsically motivated for the reason that they study English to achieve their goal of getting good grades. Furthermore, some students motivated by the role of other people, such as teachers, friends, in helping and supporting them in learning English online. So in English online learning, 11th graders in SMK 3 Jambi have high extrinsic motivation and medium to high motivation in the intrinsic motivation. Next, the suggestion that the researcher can provide. From the results that have been achieved in this research, the researcher hopes that after the completion of this thesis, the researcher will be able to help schools provide information related to the motivation of the 11th graders at Vocational High School 3 Jambi City towards English online learning. And also for the next researcher, The researcher hopes that this research is able to provide an overview of how the condition of students' motivation during online English learning. And also, the next researchers can integrate students' motivation with other aspects to see students' motivation more specifically related to writing, reading, speaking, and or listening skills. And also, this description of motivation is considered sufficient to show students' motivation in learning English online. But for the impact factors of online learning for students, it needs more in-depth research, and future researchers have the opportunity to explore this phenomena. And in addition, the next researchers can also explore the phenomenon using different research methods. And for the teachers, the suggestion that can be provide for teacher is that by understanding the motivations of students, teacher will be able to provide learning that can increase students' motivations. And for students, the students can take advantage of the existing online resources to access and support more English learning opportunities. And also, students are also suggested to use the available facilities and infrastructure properly. And the last, for parents, parents can always support and also supervise their children at home during English online learning so that their children continue to be enthusiastic in learning English online from home. Last but not least, thank you so much for the attention to my thesis presentation. I hope this research has benefits to people in the realm of education. Wassalamualaikum